Oh, welcome to class. In today's lesson, I'm going to be teaching you contemporary Nigeria artists like Aina Anabulu, Ben Enwonwu, Bronze Onobokparaye, and Yusuf Grillo. For this week, we are going to look at two of them, the likes of Aina Anabulu and Ben Enwonwu. Aina Anabulu was born in Ijebu-Ode, present-day Ogun State of Nigeria in 1881. Aina did not acquire initial training from any school because art was not taught in any school. At that time, in the whole of West Africa, he went to England to study in the School of Art. And this is the picture of Aina Anabulu. Is a painter and a good naturalistic portrait. These are some of his works. Again, let's go back to his biography. He is a painter. He was the first African to study in the School of Art, London, between 1920 to 1922, and obtained diploma in fine art. He taught art in many schools, secondary school across the country. Anabulu was a naturalistic portrait painter of high repute. He single-handedly fought for the inclusion of art in school curriculum. When government finally decided to listen to him, he was faced with problem of shortage of indigenous art teachers that called for the recruitment of expatriate art teachers. At that point in time, in the whole of West Africa, art were not being taught in any school in West Africa, including Nigeria. So he actually fought for the inclusion of art in school curriculum. And also, when that was finally agreed by the Nigeria government, he faced with teachers not being able to teach in school. Here is another good portraiture of Aina Anabulu. And here are some of his work. I told you he's a good portraiture painter. And here are some of his portraits. Again, here are one of his work, the Bishop Ajayi Crowther portrait. Then let's go back to his biography. The likes of Kenneth Murray and Dennis Dundan and Welford Brown were invited to Nigeria to teach in Nigeria secondary school, which produced prominent artists like Ben Enwonwu, Akinola Lasikan, Bros Onobokparaye, and others. Aina Anabulu today is regarded as the founding father and teacher of modern Nigeria art. He died on 13th February 1963 at the age of 82 years. Some of his notable works include, here you can see the picture of Bishop Ajayi Crowther, Adam and Eve, then the Sokoto Cyclist. These are some of his works. Yeah, the next person we are going to look at is another portraiture from Aina Anabulu. Then these are some of his works. Okay, this is another portraiture, a monochrome portraiture. Yeah, the next person we are going to look at is Ben Enwonwu. Ben Enwonwu. Ben Enwonwu is a painter, a sculptor, and a muralist. Ben was born in 1921 in Onitsha by a traditional carver of ceremonial masks and religious images. He attended Government College, Ibadan, and Umuahia. While in school, he was encouraged by Kenneth Murray. I told you before, Kenneth Murray is one of those foreign expatriates that were employed by Nigeria government to come and teach art in Nigeria secondary school. So Kenneth Murray actually advised him or encouraged him to study art. So Ben did his first one-man exhibition in 1942 at Exhibition Center, Marina, Lagos. Yeah, I told you he's a sculptor, and here you can see this. Here's a picture of him carrying out a bust. Here's another good work of Ben Enwonwon. Yeah, this is another one, a painting on the market scene. Then here's another good one. Ben is a great painter and is inspired by his culture, his environment, and you can see that reflecting in his work. Yes, let's go back to his biography. The fascinating performance gave him a scholarship offered by L.W. Herford to study art in London in 1943. He completed his diploma in 1947 and went for postgraduate program in anthropology in 1948. He taught in Umuahia, Benin, and Calabar. He was appointed federal art advisor in 1948. He lectured in University of Ife and University of Benin. His style of painting ranges from naturalistic, abstract, here are some good examples of some of his painting. Okay, and here are some of his commissioned job. Yes, the first one is Iron, a bronze work attached to the wall of the National Museum in Lagos. The Risen Christ, a bronze statue of His Royal Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Sango in front of the NEPA office in Marina, Lagos. The 10-foot bronze statue of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe at Onitsha. The throne on which Queen Elizabeth sat to proclaim Nigeria independence in 1960. A portrait of Justice Atanda Fatai Williams. Here are some of his sculptural pieces. You know, I told you before that some of his works, sculptural works, are more like geometric shape combined with the nature. Yeah, but this is another work of his where a masquerade dancing. And here's another good one, a stylized sculpture. Yes, there's another good masquerade dance. And
tradition helps us understand the present. It is a wisdom that uncovers our basic nature. Master sculptor and painter Ben Enwonwu returns to the rituals of his youth and visualizes their hidden spirituality. In the process, he discovers his own essence.
Well, my art began when my father was carving in the shrine at Onitsha in the village. And he did lots of images, traditional images, which were then regarded as, you call them gods. And the effects it had on me was one of fear, because I used to be afraid of them. But when my father died, before I grew into boyhood, I began to look at things and to try to make my own images. I began to draw on the sand. After each rain, it more or less was a slate, a clean slate. Then I drew with a broomstick. Broomstick was my first pencil, and the sand was my paper. I went to my home at Onitsha, and because we have ceremonies, traditional ceremonies, funeral ceremonies, I just began to use some of the traditional dances.
In Nigeria, masquerades are village ceremonies that make use of dance, costume, and music to invoke spirits, the honorable dead. The masquerade acts out religious beliefs. Over all hovers the supernatural.
A dance movement must have a mask associated with it. But the mask itself was not the whole thing. In fact, the dancer and the movement he made were the whole thing. The mask was only a feature signifying his personality or the personality of the goddess or god or goddess that he represented. I now consider it a very important period in my work. It's taking me back to my roots with my father.
One of the things I remember he said to people who doesn't appreciate art was, if you haven't heard of Ben, then you haven't been to school.
You can never bring up a discussion about visual art and never mention the name Ben Nwowu.
He lived for art, he dreamt art, he loved nature. My husband found beauty in things that don't count importance. I am Caroline. My native name is Obiageli. I'm married to Professor Ben Nwowu, and we have 4 children, and one of them is Oliver.
I'm Oliver Nwowu, and I'm Executive Director of the Ben Nwowu Foundation. I would say that no other Nigerian artist before him has been entrenched in our national consciousness.
The Ben Nwowu Foundation was established in the year 2003 to preserve the Ben Nwowu's legacy. Ben Nwowu is the most influential artistic figure of the 20th century and has been hailed since the 1950s as Africa's greatest artist. In 1957, he was commissioned to sculpt the bronze portrait of a ruling monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, and the sitting began at Buckingham Palace. Also, he was the first federal art advisor to the government. Other famous works of his include Anyanwu, or The Awakening, which today stands at the United Nations headquarters. So what made Ben Nwowu's art an object of interest? It's often mentioned that his visual language fused Western techniques and indigenous traditions together to create what is now known as African modernist art. He interpreted modern aesthetics while paying allegiance to his culture. One important symbol that recurs in his work is womanhood.
He feels women are beautiful.
And for him, the woman is a symbol of nationhood. The foundation is established in honor of Ben Nwowu, and as much as possible, we try to project his values, and that's why the foundation deems it fit to preserve his legacy for generations yet unborn, to imitate, to copy, to emulate, and to continue his path.
One of the ways the foundation hopes to achieve this is through continuing artist professional development and empowerment. And the foundation counts this necessary because a lot of Nigerian artists never know much beyond the rudiments of art.
Because a lot of Nigerian artists, when they go through school, they're only taught the rudiments of art. How to paint, perspective, anatomy. But they're not taught how to sustain themselves outside the four walls of the school. How is it in the business world, for instance?
The Ben Nwowu Foundation has taken it upon itself to ensure that it is able to empower artists when it comes to business. The foundation is located in the artist's home, which lends to its cultural and historical significance. Within the premises, there's the Omenka Gallery. Omenka Gallery is a leading gallery in Lagos and indeed Nigeria. And it represents a diverse number of artists working in different media.
Some of our artists we have showcased on the international scene, where we've participated in major art fairs all over the world on about 5 continents. We also have an active publications program where we produce critical text to accompany their work as a way of exposing them to new and international audiences while encouraging research into their work. A lot of people think art is purely decorative, but I say no, and the foundation says no. One of the things the foundation is trying to do is to ensure we change our perception through programs like our Distinguished Lecture Series, where we have people from all walks of life come to speak about the changing role of art in society.
They have also had scholarship schemes for students of Ahmadu Bello University, Yaba College of Technology, and of course, University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University.
For instance, one of the major topics today, on the contemporary art scene is artists' resale rights. While musicians and authors benefit from secondary sales of their works and their royalties, Nigerian visual artists do not. And that's why there's so much global attention right now on African art. And I think that's a major subject that the Benin Foundation and of course the French Cultural Center, Alliance Française, they're looking into to see how we can change enabling laws in order to ensure that artists benefit from copyright sales, but with enabling structures in place, even to ensure that even funds and grants are used to support Nigerian artists. I think that things will grow, and the sector will be sustained.